My name is Anthony Brewster from Venice, California, 800 Brooks Avenue.
What's one of the best lessons that you learned in music, being in this music industry for so long? What's one of the best lessons that you took from it?
Man, that is a great question. I mean, there's just so many lessons. I don't know if there's a greatest lesson
Yeah.
because there's always a lesson every day. So I don't know if that's a real answer for that.
What was a hard lesson that you learned?
That it's a business.
It's a business.
I would say that's the hardest thing. That music is a business.
Yeah.
Like it's fucked up business. Worse than the dope game. You can't go retaliate because somebody stole your song. It's already copywritten. It's done. You can't get your dope back.
Was your mom a musician as well then?
My mom played piano growing up. Yeah, and it's funny because like that was what another inspiration because I felt like everybody in my family could play piano. And my uncle Nathan Hood, he was they were my first musical inspirations. Besides playing in church, Brother Glenn McClary, that was my first musical mentor. This middle-aged man in Venice who played clarinet and played piano for the church, who like decided to take this kid under his wing and like show him stuff like Scott Joplin and like jazz stuff and like different approaches to like just avenues of music that I wasn't getting from other people.
Is he still around?
No, he passed away. That's Brian's uncle. Ironically, that bald with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was Brian's uncle.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my dude, man, brother Glenn. Rest in peace.
When did House of Vibe come along? Or around what year did it?
1994 ish. Yeah, I mean, I had a studio in Culver City, and we were like doing a lot of production for different groups, and we were as a band playing for a lot of different artists. As a band backing them up, and I had this studio, man, and one homie one day was just like, man, this is like the House of Vibe. I was like, I guess that's the name of it, House of Vibe, and it just stuck, and it's been that name ever since.
So in middle school or in high school, would you ever thought that music could be something that you would do for the rest of your life and make a living off of it, travel the world with it?
Nope,
No?
I wasn't thinking like that at all. Music was like video games, you know what I mean? And it was like when I was playing video games, and I was playing video games. When I wasn't, I wasn't. You know what I mean? Music was, you know, which is lame, quite honestly. But like, I wish I was like my kids. Like all my kids knew when they were young, and they were like, "Yep, I'm gonna be a musician." Like me, I was like, I was made to do it. So it was like, I didn't want to do it. It was like it was playing basketball, playing baseball, playing football, playing volleyball or ping pong at Oakwood. It was just that's if I was doing that, that's what I was doing at that time. You know what I mean? Like so, it just sort of came with the season. I was in school. Okay, I'm doing music. You know what I mean? During the summer, I was like, all right, I'm playing baseball or whatever it was that we were playing. It's crazy, man. Like growing up in Venice and going to school in Santa Monica. You have the choice of getting to Lincoln Boulevard and making a right. You going to Mark Twain and Venice High, or making a left and going to like John Adams Lincoln and Samo, right? And like as much as I hated going left, what I realized was like, okay, well, the opportunity that is around you. You're at school with the Holly Robinsons and the Karen Parsons and the Dean Canes and the Charlie Sheens and the Chris Penns and like that's 81 to 84. You know what I mean? And so like all of a sudden, and this is before Charlie Sheen was Charlie Sheen. This is when he was Charlie Estevez, and when we just played on the same baseball team. When you had the hell of a knuckleball, you see what I'm saying? Like you hadn't even started acting, so it was like. But then like we're playing parties at your dad's house in Malibu, and realizing, oh well, damn, we're around like special folks, you know what I mean? Like Holly, it was about Holly's brother Matt, who was like working for a record company, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit, we play for a band, like, oh Matt Robinson is the shit, like, when they try and holler at Holly's brother, man, someday, you know what I mean? Like, it was like those kind of dreams that you saw right in front of you from like just being in music and going, okay, well, I play in this band, and like they have this opportunity.
When did you start traveling through music, then doing tours and stuff like that?
Year out of high school, that was my first time touring, and I had a baby. My baby passed away, and I just needed to do something. The Untouchables had asked me to join their band, and that was like my first time ever like going, okay, I'm going to a different country. I was like 18. You know what I mean? I was a kid and I was naive and like, you know what I mean? But
What
like,
country?
I mean, we went everywhere, man. We went all through England, Europe. Went through all through Asia. We went everywhere. I mean, the Untouchables were like an international band, so like, we were playing in Dublin, Ireland. Give Ireland back to the Irish, you know what I mean? And like fucking having Irish people go crazy. It was a crazy time, man, because it was the beginning of those eras. Like the Untouchables, for example. That was like the first, that was third wave ska, first band signed in America. So it was a big deal to like the rest of the world. You know what I mean? England accepted us as their own because we got signed by Island Records. And so it was like everybody over here thought we were from London. I ended up doing this video and singing over in London. And so then, like, it got put on MTV. Everybody thinks that, like, we're this London band, which ironically is some super history. Okay, the video "What's Gone Wrong" by the Untouchables is the first video on MTV that showed an interracial relationship because they thought we were from England when MTV was playing the shit and didn't know that we was from Venice and South Central. And so, like, it was like, they weren't doing that with Prince. I mean, they were playing Prince, Michael Jackson, all this shit. And it's like, nobody could do that. And they let that slide through because we won, like, new band of the year or whatever the fuck. And then, like, band became popular and the whole shit. And anyway, a little bit of, a little bit of history.
Yeah. How long were you with the Untouchables for then?
I was with the Untouchables from 84, 85 to about 92, maybe, something like that. Then I started having kids, and my kids started getting older. I had two boys, and ended up splitting up, so I became a single father. Couldn't tour. So then when my boys got older, got into another relationship. Then I joined Fishbone, and Chris Dow left the band, so that's when I started playing with Fishbone. So I mean, even that, just being this kid from Venice, I felt pretty lucky to go playing Untouchables and then go playing this band Fishbone, which were like all LA based bands, and it was and that were on some cutting edge shit. Like nobody knew what we were doing. We were just kids, just experimenting with music and.
What instruments were you playing for the Untouchables?
Untouchables, I was playing keys, trumpet, and singing, and then with Fishbone, I was playing keys, valve trombone, and singing. Switched up the horn because Chris used to play trombone, so
Okay.
had to cover that tone. Yeah.
You went from Untouchables to Fishbone, and then what was the next band after that?
After that, man, ironically, I jumped full bore into crazy hip hop haphazardly and ironically. We're playing and you're touring the world, but you still need other income. You know what I mean? The homie that I grew up with was a lawyer, and he called me up and he was like, "Hey, man, I got this girl from Detroit, man, who needs a band. And her name is Davina, and she was signed to Loud Records." And it's funny because I didn't know what I was signing up for when I did it, but it turned out to be like the super blessing. She came to LA, put together a band, but her only stipulation was like, I got the DJ. Like, I have the DJ. You can put the rest of the band together, but I have the DJ. That turned out to be the DJ for Slum Village, right? The homie Dez, like, ended up being like brothers and whatnot. So like when that happened, she was the only artist on Loud Records that had a band that was singing it, because you had like Mobb Deep, you had Wu-Tang, you had Alcoholics, Exhibit, like all those type artists. And so then you had this girl from Detroit who had a full band and was, come over to my place, relax and chill. Like nobody knew what the fuck to do with that shit. So, and then she's demanding for her band. So but through that we got to do like a lot of hip hop remixes, you know what I mean? Because she was on this Hoodlum soundtrack. So then like a couple of her songs became very popular. And so then like now I'm doing hip hop. So then from that, I meet another girl named Reese. So now she's with Blacksmith Entertainment, and so that's like Talib Kweli and Dave Chappelle and like all them type folks, all that whole New York side. So I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm in that world, you know what I mean? Playing with another female artist that's like in the hip hop world, but not necessarily doing hip hop. So then you start to expand musically. Like, okay, well they need players to do whatever because like everybody started finding out that samples ain't the way because everybody started getting sued and whatnot. So everybody started playing live on either gigs or doing recordings. So it's like I end up haphazardly in that world. And I did like 10 years of like female, like in Dia Davenport and like Nika Costa and like all kind of like all the dope females that were like coming out at that time. So
Do you have any favorite artists that you worked with in the past?
most of them, man, I've like become my good friends and still are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Reese is still my sister. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Davina's like my sister. Like Charlie Tuna.
Yeah.
MC Supernatural. Them was like my two brothers.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Kinetic Source, Mozo Motley. Like that's them motherfuckers used to sit around and Dez moved in from Detroit with me, right? So like me with my dumb ass playing in Fishbone, I don't take no claim to fame of knowing shit.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like having this place and this space. You got Charlie Tuna, Supernatural, all these motherfuckers over there freestyling for hours, for hours, for hours. But then they bringing people like Dez, bringing people like Frank and Dank and Jay Dilla and like all these people, and like I got 40 pounds of weed and like I'm playing in Fishbone, playing punk rock shit. Like, I got shit to do. So like come back, like y'all still rapping? Like goddamn. Like, there was a lot of dope shit happening back in the day, especially like when I had my space in Culver City, because you had like Hootie and the Blowfish coming through. Me and Darius Rucker playing Madden. You know what I mean? He's a big Dolphins fan, so I'm a Cowboys fan. We used to like go at it all the time. It was just, a lot of historic shit, man. Growing up in Venice, Santa Monica, just on the west side, bro. I mean, the dope shit about like Venice, the culture that you even around, even on the levels that you don't know you're around. So like I got this band, we doing ska and reggae, you know what I mean? And then like we playing with other little bands that are doing like ska and reggae and punk and whatever that looks like, you know what I mean? But then those bands turn out to be like the Suicidal Tendencies and the Fishbones and the Untouchables and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. A lot of these artists are still like my good friends, like like Charlie is my brother, like I'll die for that dude. My homies are my homies, and we just happen to do music.
Do you have any favorite like on the road or tour stories?
No, I ain't got no stories on the road, bro. Remember, I don't know nothing. Hey, yeah, no. I mean, man, touring is fun, bro. It's fun. It's a blast. You get to tour with your homies, see the world, meet people of every background and culture. And
favorite country you've been to? Do you have a favorite?
The most memorable because of where I'm from was like Venice, Italy. Cause you step out the train station and you step out and it's like, nigga, everything water. I mean, if you want to go across the street to the market, you have to get on a ferry. You want to go down the street, ain't no street. Ferry, ain't no cars. Everything is, so it was like, that was crazy looking to me. You know what I mean? Just the building structures, that whole thing. And then you being from Venice, California, and then you're in Venice, Italy, it's like, oh, this is dope.
Could you ever live in Venice, Italy, you think?
Nah, I can't even swim, dog. I can't even swim. I got a surfboard hanging up. Fucking my homeboy Damian Bronner gave me the surfboard. One of a kind. I wish y'all could see it. Jordan 23, House of Vibe logo on it. And yeah, grew up on the beach. Can't swim a lick.
You ever gonna learn?
Huh?
You ever gonna learn?
Nah, you know what?
It's too late now.
Okay, God honest truth, bro. I went for 3 summers back to my wife is from Brimfield, Massachusetts, right? Her family, one of them is a lifeguard. And so I went back for a couple summers. And they're like, we're going to teach you how to swim. After those summers, they're like, yeah, maybe you just can't swim. Like, you're not buoyant. You like, you don't float. Like, you just, because I'll be going and my shit just, I have all the mechanics, but I just can't float, dog. I don't know. It's just dumbass shit, dude, for real.
So, do you still feel like every day you're still learning and you're still like growing in music?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Dude, you could, always.
Yeah.
I'm about to learn some shit right after this interview from the cat sitting in that next room waiting for me to be done. It's you're always learning. You know what I mean? If you say you ain't, you a lie. But because everything. I mean, not only music, life is just ever evolving. What music is about to come back out that's like has something to say about like world issues? Cause see, that's the difference. Like going back to the '60s and '70s is because like you were the voice of the voiceless. You know what I mean? That's what hip hop was all about. You know what I mean? That was the invention of it. Being you are the voice to the neighborhood, to your neighborhood. You know what I mean? That's what MCs was doing. So it's like, and it was the same thing in music. So now, to me, when coronavirus hit, it's like it's put a little flip back into it because like, you realize, damn, I may not need a big company because like I've had to survive for the last 3 years all by myself, and my kids gonna eat every day. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with or without your company, my kids gonna eat every day. So you found out ways to reinvent yourself, like all this NFT stuff and all the digital currency stuff. It's the frontier right now. It's the frontier. You know what I mean? And like, and all you kids are at the head of it all. You know what I mean? I'm older now, so I sit there and listen to this shit, and I'm like, yo, what? 1.23 bought a what in a mansion in a digital way. What? Like, there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We sit there and ball every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm one of the oldest motherfuckers sitting there and I'm listening. So I can learn shit. And it's like you apply that to music, same thing. It's like, but I think that digital technology fucked it up for a minute because you could press a button. You could press a button and then fuck it up. And so I created a song. But then, like now, people want to play again. They want to learn their craft. They want to do shit because they've had time to sit and and do that shit. You know what I mean?
Since COVID, then how often have you been able to tour, if at all?
Well, we haven't toured at all. I mean, there's been no touring. There's been no plan. I mean, everything is it's just now opening back up.
Yeah.
It was crazy for a minute. Everything is opening back up. People are starting to tour now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's it's starting. Me, I'm chilling now. I like my studio.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a different vibe touring on the road than being in the studio in your hometown.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I'm older now. I'm 55, so it's like wife and 6 kids.
Yeah.
I've seen it, done it all. Like I'm straight. Like I'm. My kids are coming into their own and starting to do it. So like I'm loving that.
Is there any other like countries or cities that you would like to go to on tour that you haven't been to yet?
I mean, I'm sure there's a couple. Like I want to go to Ghana.
Okay.
Never
been.
Never been to Ghana. I want to go to Ghana.
You ever been anywhere in Africa?
No.
Okay.
No, but Ghana specifically, I want to go. Just.
What about Ghana?
I just know a lot of good people from Ghana, man, and like one of my good friends, Rocky Dawuni, he's from Ghana. It's like my brother, and just everything that I watch him experience in life is just good. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that's just has something to do with your culture.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy for me. Like I started touring in 1984, and it was like that was the height of apartheid. So like, go to Africa.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting caught up in nobody's. Like it was just a weird, crazy thing. I'm like, it's fucked up in America.
Yeah.
And they don't even have apartheid in America, and it's fucked up in America. And I don't know if that was like even training from the other side or whatever that it was, but it was that fucking self hate shit was like big. You know what I mean? And it was try to understand it and where it's coming from, you know. But like as a kid, I never wanted to go because of that reason. I was like, there's apartheid in Africa. I'm a nigga. U.S. is whooping my ass. Anyway.
When you were younger, then touring that was exciting because there's all the different places you've never been to and maybe even never even thought of going. But now, as you've been to a lot of different places, what's the thing that excites you like touring once did when you were a kid or a young adult?
When you see kids, bro, and they just happy from some shit that you made up,
Yeah,
and they singing your songs, like you learn to appreciate that shit. You know,
yeah,
when you was young, you did it for the hoes, you did it for the money, you did it for the whatever, you did it for the accolades, you did it for the whatever, you know. But then like when you write a song and you're going, damn, there's a 20-year-old kid singing your words, and you don't know you from shit,
yeah,
you know. And especially when you're not with like not so famous acts,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Shit that isn't pubbed through like the system, and like they search for it and they go, oh, I choose to like that.
yeah,
You know, that's the dopest shit in the world.
yeah.
You know.
Can you tell me the
Yeah.
most valuable lesson that you've ever learned in your life?
Um, most valuable lesson for me is that I understand that life is an experience and it is not a competition. Start off with music for me with that. Like music, people don't understand music is not a competition. It's just an expression of your soul. You know what I mean? And like and that expands to life. Life is the same thing. Like my life doesn't have to be a competition against yours. You know, it's just this is just my expression of me. And like that's what life is to me. So,
Appreciate your time.
yes, sir. All right. If you like this content, subscribe to GV Local. Yeah.